Podcast. You're a part of the Resistance.
Three will enter, only one will rise champion. Star Wars Wars is back, baby! Welcome back to the Resistance broadcast. I'm John Hoey. James Bainey and Lacey Gillerin are coming right up. But let me just tell you guys, this segment has been dormant for a very long time, and we're bringing it back. Why? Because we posted a poll to you guys, and you said you wanted a war, a Star Wars war. Well, that's what you're going to get. So I hope you guys are ready for it. We are going to tease you a little bit with the Will of the Force just to get our appetites going, but then it's on like Donkey Kong. But before we get rolling, let's bring them in. James Bainey, Lacey Gillerin, are you guys ready? And how you doing?
I just got an email. UPS My Choice. Package delivery. 2 caskets are set to be here by Thursday afternoon. All right, good. I think we're all set. I am ready for this episode, as you can see.
I love that instead of just saying, hey guys, I'm going to beat you, he's like, no, you're going to be dead by the end of this Star Wars. Like it went from 0 to 100 really quick. I have a lot of anxiety right now. This is my first time, so I'm a little nervous. But
you have anxiety. You're the one changing all your stances and your grounds. You can't even make a decision.
I'll probably change my mind right before we start anyway.
Yeah.
To preface this, James and I have put out there what our choices are for this Star Wars war, and we'll get into what the topic is in a little bit. Lacey has not told us yet, so she has a little bit of a handicap here, and you know what? That's fine because it's her first time doing a Star Wars war, so I'll allow it, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to pummel her in this war and give her the wrath that I will unleash on both of you.
John, you actually left one element out. She not only hasn't told us her choices, but she also decided to change her choices right before we were recording. So we don't know what her old choices even were. She just said, I'm going to change what I didn't tell you.
I've changed my choices 3 times now.
All right. Well, then that goes to show that she doesn't really have a solid ground to stand on to begin with. All right,
Maybe you should shut your mouth and wait for the segment to come along.
Oh, all right. Okay, this is what I like. This is like being on Star Wars Twitter, the audio version. I love it. Okay, but first we're going to be nice, sort of, and we're going to get into our new segment, my personal favorite segment of late, and it's the Will of the Force. Mr. Bainey, what is the Will of the Force this week?
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
All right, we've got a couple questions here. I think we're looking at 6 topics to talk about. We're going to get started with this first one. Will any current Star Wars canon media be de-canonized? So I know everybody's looking at that Last Jedi movie, but it's more likely we're going to get something like, oh, that book, you know what? We decided we were going to get rid of this. Heir to the Jedi wasn't really that great. Let's shove it out there. Let's write a new story for Luke Skywalker. Lacey, what do you think? Anything going to get de-canonized?
I'm like so nervous about Star Wars War.
All right.
No, I think everything's good. Everything will be great. John?
Lacey's on full tilt already. I can't wait. All right, so will any current Star Wars canon media be decanonized? I think it will. I think something will happen, and they'll have to wipe something out to tell that story or fit it in somewhere else. We've already kind of flirted with that, with some things kind of overlapping. We've talked about this, like the novelization of TFA, where Rey meets Poe, and then they meet in the movie of The Last Jedi, so it's a little fuzzy. But I do think something's going to be wiped out to tell a better version of it. So I say it will.
I'm going to go with no. I'm going to say they're not going to decanonize anything. But I think if it's even remotely possible, there's the possibility they say, well, it's still canon in this B generation of canon, and then there's the like A story canon or something like that, right? But they're never at any point going to go, oh, no, everything is canon except for the novel Phasma. or something like
I want
that.
them
I don't
to
think they're ever going to do that.
de-canonize Kanan Jarrus.
No, get out of here. Moving on. Will Jon Favreau's series be about Mandalore, as one rumor claims? Now, we talked about this on Monday, so I think we already kind of get a vibe on what's going to go down in this. But, John, what do you think? Mandalore? Jon Favreau?
No,
No,
it won't.
That's simple. Yeah, I think we already talked about it. I'm going. Here's the thing. Will it be about this? I hope that it is. I think that it will be. I'm going to say, yeah, I think it will be. There's nothing to say that it will or won't. It could be a million different things. I just kind of think that would be a good idea. So I'm going to say, yeah. Let's say it's about Mandalore. Lacey, what do you say?
No. It's
No.
so boring. No one cares about it. No.
Mandalore gets brought up in this episode again. All right, guys, I think we should just go ahead and knock out that one and move on to the next one because we talked pretty heavily about it on Monday. So the next Will of the Force is, will either Rian Johnson or the Benioff and Weiss films, B and Dub films, as we like to call them, take place during the Galactic Civil War just from other people's perspective outside the Skywalker crew? So, John, I'm going to start with you. Do you think it's possible that these two new trilogies / franchise of films are going to actually take place during the same time frame as all the other Star Wars movies we've ever gotten?
No.
He says no. So
No, for a while I thought that it was possible, but I don't think so.
All right. So I'll get Lacey's, but I want to get an answer from the two of you. But Lacey, what do you think?
No.
She says no too. All right. So quickly, if not, when do you think that those stories are going to take place?
Old Republic and then Ryan's will take place sometime probably during the sequel trilogy or after.
During the sequel trilogy or after. Okay.
I think one will be a longest time ago, and one will be like, since the saga was a long time ago, it's going to be past that where people are going to be talking about Luke Skywalker like he's a myth.
So like 30 years after Endor.
I think B and Dubs is going to be Old Republic, guys. I think we're getting Old Republic with that.
No, I'm talking like 500 years past the time
that's a little much.
Darth Vader.
So 1,000 years ago, and then the other one is 500 years in the future. I think I'm with Lacey. I think Benioff was Wise is going to be the Old Republic, and I think Rian Johnson's is going to take place in another place in the galaxy, somewhere else, but post Return of the Jedi, pre Force Awakens. That era, but somewhere over there where things are good, things are fine because the Empire's gone, but maybe the New Republic isn't quite established yet. Let's put it that way. All right, moving on to the next one. So
we all said no.
Yeah, we all said no, that it's not going to take place between like Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope or something like that. Will Jar Jar Binks ever be seen again in a Star Wars series or film? So remember, that word series means he could show up in television or technically even animated television. Lacey, what do you think?
I say yes. I think he's going to show up probably, maybe Clone Wars.
It's possible.
I think he's coming back, guys. I think he'll come back eventually.
All right.
Or he'll be Snoke and Rey's parents.
I mean, will be is in like he is Snoke. So, yeah, absolutely. 100%. As much as people don't like this character, somebody was joking around about like his death earlier. And I was like, he's not dead. Like we don't know how his character ends. We know that he's on like this planet and what he's doing right now. And it's not really that important. Yeah. But I think that at some point they're going to address, him as a character as a whole, because I think we're even going to look back at like, oh man, the prequels were like 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Let's talk about Jar Jar, But But yeah, I think that's very likely. John, what do you say?
I think we will as well. I do think it's funny that J.J. Abrams almost killed him canonically and almost put his bones in the background somewhere on Jakku. I think he was going to do that. But I think just this whole movement and everything with Ahmed Best and kind of those Hayden Christensen vibes, though I don't think he's coming back. He's going to get another kind of like a redemption, and not like a character redemption, but kind of like, let's give Jar Jar one more spotlight, and let's not make it big, but let's bring him back and let him know that even though some of us don't love you, we still accept you.
All right. Next question is, will we ever see Inquisitors in a live action Star Wars series or film? Now, the Inquisitors kind of made their big grand entrance into Rebels. That's where everybody kind of knows them from. They've since shown up in multiple comic books. But will we actually ever see them jump to live action, or I guess you could say the possibility of another series like an animated show or something like that? But John, what do you say?
Well, live action. I do, because I really want, and this is the little kid in Willy Wonka saying, I want this, I want that. I want that live action Vader hunting down Jedi movie. And they would fit right into that. So I think we will.
All right, Lacey, do you agree with him?
No, that's not happening.
Well, that's nice.
I think
I'm
they're
gonna absolutely butcher you in that Star Wars war.
I think they're really like a Rebels comics thing. I don't think they're well known enough that they'd show up in a movie and people would be like, "Ah, yes." I'm going to say no.
I am going to go with yes, although I could totally see this not happening too. So it's kind of a tricky thing. Like, they are just deep enough in the lore that people would be like, Inquisitors? What are these things?
I'm sorry, what are they in? Deep enough in the what?
Shut up. That if these things ever showed up in a show or a movie, I think they would be immediately just accepted like the Knights of Ren were. Like,
yeah,
dude, those things are sweet.
They're not a main.
I don't need to know the backstory. I don't need to know what
yeah.
they are. What you're trying to tell me? These used to be like Jedi, like actual, like in the Order, in the Council Jedi, and now they're like evil dark side users, and they're like, I don't know, just cool.
James, you're like so pumped up about this.
No, I'm saying I think
so
that's
pumped
the
up
thing.
for a thing that's never going to happen.
Well, you say that, but John agrees with me. All right, moving on to the next one. This is the last
that Vader
one, guys.
Movie's gonna be boss.
This is the last. It's gonna have Bosk. That you've heard it here first, folks. Yeah, we already got a Vader movie with Bosk. It was called Empire Strikes Back. All right. Speaking of things coming back, will Harrison Ford, Han Solo, appear in Episode 9 in a flashback? So he's not coming back to life, guys, but is there the possibility that since they've teased force backs and flashbacks, just Luke and Ben back in their little cottage together, is there a chance that we might actually get to see Harrison Ford again on the big screen? Lacey.
I'm going to say yes, but not in the way that you're saying it. I think they're going to show him dying again in some type of flash vision nightmare sequence. I think that will happen. I don't think you'll see him in like him with baby Ben or him talking to young Ben. I think.
Lacey, do you think we're going to see the same footage, or do you think he'll come back and shoot different
same footage? He's not
that?
Coming back. Harrison's out.
Okay.
I'm going to say that I agree with Lacey in the sense that I don't think we could ever get Harrison back. But they're using unused footage of Carrie Fisher. And I think there's a possibility that JJ could say, we didn't get the big three on screen. Let's do it again. Let's make it happen with Harrison Ford's permission. We don't need to have him on set. We don't need any rumors out there. We're going to cut together a scene somehow with the three of them together, and everybody is going to come full circle on this trilogy and say, we got what we wanted. So I think it's very possible that we could see Han Solo appear in episode 9 and not so much like a new Harrison Ford scene, if you will. John, Will the Force, last one. What do you say?
I think we will, and I would not completely rule out him coming back to have done one more scene for that reason, for that reunion that everybody's kind of hoping for.
So you just take it one more step.
Whole saga. Yeah. Yep. I would not rule that out.
Yeah, I think that's possible. Simply because of Carrie passing, I think he might go, all right, fine. You know, like he's like, I was done with this thing, but it's for her. For her, I'll do it. You know, or something. I can see that.
Give me a private jet and $10 million, I'll be there.
Not that Harrison cares, but like, Mark's doing it. Mark's gonna show up. All right, I'll do it if Mark's doing it. You know,
I don't want to be the only jerk.
Exactly. All right, guys, that's it. Will the Force, man. We talked about Will it. We talked about Will it nodding. That doesn't make sense. That's why we're just gonna head into the Star Wars wars, and John is gonna lay down what we're gonna be fighting over.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time!
I say we fight!
Star Wars Wars is back, and we are doing the best and worst deaths in Star Wars. We are each gonna pick one from each category. Now, while Star Wars is fun, it's a space opera, it's for all ages, death is a big part of the franchise. And like I said, we each have chosen what we think are the single best and worst deaths in franchise history, and we're going to debate our choices against each other in the return of our fight segment. Yes, it's Star Wars Wars. Lacey's nervous. I can't wait. I'm excited. So what we're going to do here is we'll start with the best deaths first, and we'll each reveal our choice for best death and give an opening statement, and then let the bell ring and the fight begin. So who wants to go first with their choice and their opening statement?
Lacey!
No, I'm not going first.
Thrown
I go
into
first for
the
everything.
fire.
I go first for everything. I'm not going first for this. I don't know how this works. You guys got to walk me through this.
Okay.
James, you want to go first?
Step 1, I go first. Step 2, you lose. The best death in Star Wars is Kanan Jarrus. And the reason...
Of course you say Kanan.
It's not about his character. It's not about his personality. It's not about
just
anything
that I
like
love
that.
him.
No, it's that he has the best death. Now, the reason is because, number one, everybody in Star Wars dies basically the same way. They either get shot with a blaster, their ship goes down, they disappear, they get run through by a lightsaber. It's all the same stuff. Kanan's death is superior because it's very, very unique. There's so much meaning behind what it is. There's the explosion, him using the Force to block it, to protect these people, him getting his sight back. It's all part of the sacrifice. He pushes the people away. It swallows him up. It's such an original death. It means so much after so long of this character. It's easily the best.
Okay. Mine is a character that people actually know. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm sorry, that doesn't matter.
His death. People like to relate to things, and when you relate to things, you pick you align with that a little bit more. So the reason why I picked Obi-Wan Kenobi is because he's more of an important character than Kanan Jarrus, therefore making his death more important. His death is the best because he did it on his terms, and not many characters in Star Wars can really say that, can they?
So Luke Skywalker's is just as good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who was his pupil.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan even told Vader, "Strike me down. I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine." And he was right. He looks at Luke, kind of does his own thing, vanishes. He has that power, and Vader swipes through, stomps through. He's like, "What happened? Where'd he go? I don't understand what happened. I wanted to beat him clean and fair." And Obi-Wan's like, on my terms. Later, see you around, kid. Vanishes. And then he helps Luke blow up the Death Star by teaching him the Force in death. It's not only impactful post-death, it's impactful of a moment, especially like seeing that movie for the first time. People are like, "Whoa, this guy can disappear?" And he did it on his own terms. No other Jedi can say it like that. Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the greatest characters, one of the best deaths, probably the best death.
Yeah, what a meaningful sacrifice coming back in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was so meaningful. He just disappeared, and then there he was again, giving more advice.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm not even worried about dying. Dying's not really a thing. I'll be back. I'm coming back.
You can
for
both
the next
stop
movie.
talking,
Both movies.
because I have the right death, the best death, which is Darth Vader's, of course, the chosen one of the entire series, the one that George Lucas, said that these movies only existed because of Darth Vader. So his death is the best death. He sacrificed himself for Luke. He showed Luke that you can come back from the dark side. He took his helmet off for his own son just to see him with his own eyes. It's meaningful. It's emotional. It's perfect. He then gets a burial with like fire Viking burial. It has its own scene. Nobody else in these movies has so many death emotional scenes than Darth Vader's like 10-minute span of death. So I choose Darth Vader.
When someone's dragging his body around, he's like, I can't breathe. I can't.
Yeah,
Wait, how is that a bad death? That makes it even more meaningful. He didn't leave the
What a
body on the
boring
ship
death.
to die.
He's
or to
the
burn
greatest
up.
Sith Lord in the world, and his respirator went out.
Yeah, it's like accidentally dropping the toaster in the bathtub.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the toaster doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, but he did it to sacrifice himself for his own son, for the greater good.
He did
Which
it
is
to
better
kill
than
the Emperor,
sacrificing-
and then he's like, oh, darn it. He was using the electric thing.
Yeah, but he died for his own son. For Luke,
died as
to
a
show him that
side
you can
effect of
come
trying to
back
kill.
from the dark side. That you can, even
Well, first of
despite
all-
everything that happened, you can come back and make the right choice. That's what made his death so meaningful and makes it the best death.
First of all, you took the easiest choice.
No,
So,
I didn't. I
gotta
took
start there.
the best choice.
Yeah, the easy choice, the most popular choice, right?
The best choice.
But let me
is the
start
best
with
death.
James, because James's choice is embarrassing.
I know, James. Why did you even come on this show?
Yeah, you should have saved it just for maybe your choice for worst death, because that one's going to be fucking hilarious.
It should
really just hilarious.
I thought we were doing best, not who doesn't care.
I think James is kind of ridiculous because I almost forgot that Kanan was in Rebels while he was gone.
Who is
And then he's
Kanan?
like, oh yeah, there he is, that guy. Okay.
Bull
Oh, we got a
crap.
sight back. That's cool. Oh, he's protecting everybody. That's sweet. Like, come on. It was too much. It was way too like dramatic for me. And it just like people already forgot about it. The show just ended last year and people forgot about that guy's death.
Bull crap. The other thing, too, is like, Darth Vader, like, Kanan walked into that scenario knowing his death. That's so BA, man. That dude is awesome. He knew he was going to die and he was doing the right thing. Vader was kind of like a split-second decision. You know what I mean? Obi-Wan was trying to get off of there and he's like, I don't know about that. This actually might be a benefit for Luke if I do this. It's like, those are like kind of like last-minute decisions to kind of risk their life. But like Kanan, like fully 100% mentally went into that death and he knew that he was going to burn to death. Not disappear, not slowly kind of fade
Vader
away.
kind of burned to death in the sake
After
of
he
his
was
own
dead,
body.
that's not
And then
really-
because of
that's
his
a good
death,
argument.
he then had a helmet that then went to Kylo Ren, which started that whole sequence.
All right, listen, Lacey. First of all, we're not bringing Kylo Ren into this. So pipe down.
It's meaningful to the
Second-
death.
Second of all,
I should have chose
I don't
Kylo
think
Ren as the best
Vader-
death.
No.
Vader didn't necessarily know he was going to die.
It doesn't.
So he may just been
okay,
like,
first of all,
"Let
this
me-"
isn't the like who knew they were going to die category. This is legit
Well, that's
best death.
That was a part of your argument as to why it was a good death because he was sacrificing himself.
He
right?
did. He decided to make the right choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but he didn't know he was going to die. He may have just been like, "Let me get rid of the Emperor, and then me and my son are going to go eat a sandwich together."
Yeah, but at the
I'll get a new
same
hand.
time, it's the idea that he made the choice, which then resulted in his death. It's not about when and where.
So it's
he
not
did
as
it.
noble as you think in terms of like a suicidal or kamikaze kind of
Again, this
sacrifice.
isn't
Like
noble
Kanan's.
death. This is the best death.
Yeah, which is Obi-Wan
This is
Kenobi's.
the epitome of father-son relations. Important moments in this series is Darth Vader and
How come-
his death.
How come Vader didn't just disappear like a badass instead of like you said being burnt like a piece of leathery burnt bacon?
I don't
Again.
know how. Wait, can we pause for a second? I really don't know why he didn't disappear.
Because
That's what I'm saying.
it doesn't make any sense. That's why they just wanted to have him sit.
We're not talking about disappearing deaths. We're talking
Like a
about
wet
the
rag.
best death. The best death is about someone that in the moment they have a decision to make, whether it's good or bad. He made a good decision, which resulted in
saving
his
their
death,
loved ones,
saving
using the
his
Force to
own
protect
son.
them as the flames begin to surround him. Yes, the best death. Look, the other deaths you guys are talking about are a guy standing there and he disappears and his clothes fall off, and then the other
James, yours
dude.
isn't even the main series, James. You can't even argue for this death because it's not even a part of the main story.
Yeah, you guys say that, and that just goes to show how little you care about Star Wars canon as a whole. You guys care about like the movies.
There it is. There's the C word. Canon.
That's not true, because Kanan Jarrus is a filler. He's the lettuce that you put on the sandwich. Okay, that's all he is. He's not important. He never will
Darth
be. You
Vader
can still tell
is
the
the
story of
burger.
Star Wars without Kanan Jarrus. But anyway,
Star Wars
Obi-Wan
is
Kenobi.
bigger than one
Obi-Wan
story.
Kenobi, one of the most important characters in the history of the saga. Everything that guy went through leading up to his final moment, he made the choice on his own. He was in complete control. Nobody else can say that. His death was impactful. It even taught Luke what to do and how to create his own ending that we just saw in The Last Jedi. And he did it on his terms. Qui-Gon went out like a punk. Anakin almost went out like a punk. Han Solo got skewered. Kanan, you just told me how he died and I already forgot because I don't care. And Darth Vader's death, like I said, it was drawn out. We knew it was going to happen. It's the easy choice. The best
it's meaningful
death.
AF. Dude takes off his
best
helmet and
death.
he's like, I just want to see tell your sister she was right. Oh my God, I'm crying. I'm crying right now.
And then he comes back 10 minutes later and it's Hayden Christensen.
Exactly.
Okay, that has
Both
nothing to
of
do
you
with
guys-
this death.
Both of your guys' death were deaths that they're like, I don't know, I'm like the chosen one. I'm probably going to come back as a
James.
Force Ghost. And the other guy's like,
there
I
it is,
definitely
Force
is
Ghost.
coming back
I
as a
knew
Force
the Force
Ghost.
Ghost thing was coming up.
Because we're talking about their death and neither one of them died. No, neither one. They're both alive at the end of the Return of the Jedi. There they are. Hey, they're still here. They could still have a conversation.
James,
People are talking about
can we all
Hayden
agree-
Christensen and Anakin Skywalker showing up in Episode 9. That's possible.
James,
Ben
James, do you
Kenobi
honestly
showing up
think-
in Episode 9. That's possible.
Kanan
James, do you
didn't come back
honestly
because he
think-
doesn't matter.
Because he died.
do you
That's the
honestly
point.
think-
He gave the sacrifice.
Are you, let me, because a lot of our listeners know that he's your favorite character. He's your favorite fictional character of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you honestly think in your heart, or are you just doing this for the sake of the Star Wars war, that Kanan Jarrus' death is the best death in all of Star Wars?
100%. And here's the reason, is if this were Ezra's death, Ezra's not my favorite character. But if that was Ezra's death, that absolutely would be the same thing. Him completely giving his life and a sacrifice for his friends to block a massive, like, oil explosion, basically, as the flames come around him, and he pushes his friends away so that they can live, but he can't. And he
Right, but it's not even
there's all this
important in
force
the
too
bigger
with like
story.
that doesn't matter. It's about this character and his story and his death. This is
It
how
does
he
matter,
goes
though.
out. And here's the other thing too, is like, you best believe that if that scene were anybody else and it were in a live action show or it were in a movie, everybody would be like, holy crap, Luke Skywalker just blocked
But
all this
it
explosion and he protected
But it wasn't.
protected Rey. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what medium
It does matter.
the story happens.
Now you're
No, it
making
doesn't.
now you're making up a hypothetical.
Because we're talking about-
It is what it is.
We're talking about a character in this galaxy, and if he had the best death.
It's a cartoon,
It doesn't
dude. It's
matter.
like seeing Wile E. Coyote fly into a brick wall. I can't take it seriously.
The same, a person's meaningful death could still be just as meaningful if they don't do anything with their life and they just live their
James,
life and they have a meaningful death. They don't have
Kanan
to be
might as well have
the
been standing on
president
an
of the
Acme
United
bomb.
States, or they don't have to be a world leader in order to have a meaningful death. You can still be a person in the universe, in the world,
But
living
you're
your
trying
life.
to compare it against better deaths in the saga.
Paige
Better
Tico
deaths
had
in
a
the
better
saga.
death
The
than
guy's
Kanan.
respirator went out, and the other dude was like, "I'm just going to disappear." It's not a big deal. It's not like I'm really going
And
away.
let
I'm
me
not
tell
really
you,
losing
I'm gonna go-
anything. In fact,
I
I'm
wanna
getting
turn this
more
back to
power.
Lacey.
You could almost say Obi-Wan's death is kind of selfish.
Yeah, right? He's like,
Whatever.
look at me, look at me.
I'll get back to you in a second, James, because we just proved that Kanan Jarrus is pretty much like Wile E. Coyote. But in terms of Lacey's, I mean, think about when people saw Darth Vader's mask come off. They're like, ugh. Like, that's it?
Where'd his eyebrows go? Oh, wait, his eyebrows are there until later they decide to take them off.
So first of all,
I'm pretty sure nobody said,
God.
I'm pretty sure everyone went, oh my God, he's so old. Like, you felt bad for him.
Why is he white?
No, people were like, that's what Darth Vader looks like? Oh.
I'm pretty sure nobody thought that because then when they went to... Yeah, no. Nope. Nobody thought that. From the first time I saw that movie, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, he's so old.
Like,
he knew what condition he was in.
Hold on. I have a newspaper here from May 28th, 1983, and it says, these are people coming out of the theater. Quote,
is that just a blank piece of paper?
I couldn't believe Darth Vader looked like that. That really made it an unimpactful death for me.
At Johnny Hoey.
That's just people walking out of the theater back in the day.
August 2018. John, no one cares what you think. Darth Vader is the best death to ever happen in Star Wars. It meant more to everyone, including George Lucas, than any of this canon BS that's going on over on this side. Or Obi-Wan.
Are these your closing thoughts?
No, my closing thought is you both suck. And Darth Vader is the best.
You guys both suck. Darth Vader's the best death. Where?
Best death ever. Okay, so let's all do a closing brief statement, and then we'll move on to worst death.
That being said, you can give 2 sentences, and nobody can say anything over your 2 sentences. How about that?
I know what it's going to be.
Go ahead, James.
I already said everything I want to say. I think you guys are just trying to like basically make something cool when it's not.
That's 2 sentences. John, go ahead.
Nobody cares about Kanan Jarrus, and Darth Vader is an easy, safe pick. Obi-Wan Kenobi went out on his own terms. Nobody else could say that. He had the best death in Star Wars ever.
3 sentences.
Yeah, that was 3.
There's a lot of commas. I use commas.
Darth Vader sacrificed himself for Luke Skywalker. In the end, went out on his own terms and redeemed himself. Screw you, John. This is a side note. Away from my argument, you suck.
That was like 5 sentences.
Yeah. I love how Lacey goes into this. I'm so nervous about Star Wars War. I don't want to go first. And then she's like, okay, here's the rule. 2 sentences each. And what is going on? Okay, so I won that one, so it's 1-0. And then we're moving on to... No, let us know what you guys think. And also, if you have choices on your favorite best death, let us know in the comments. But now we're moving on to the worst death. And who wants to start this off? Again, we're each going to go around, say our choice, and give our opening statement before we start brawling. So, Lacey, it looks like you have a little more confidence now. Why don't you fire this one off?
I actually don't, John. Why don't you go first?
Okay. Now, tying closely into Lacey's pick, I'm going to say the worst death in the history of Star Wars is Sheev Palpatine. Why? Because he was the mastermind, the brilliant mind, the guy who can get inside your mind, manipulate you, control you, powerful, one of the most powerful people ever in the history of the Force. And he gets picked up by a guy with one hand and thrown down an elevator shaft.
Of course you picked Palpatine. I love how you picked Kanan and then you picked Palpatine on the second one.
And then he screams like a little, you know what? He's like, like,
all right, opening statement.
That ending was just pitiful. Worst death in Star Wars. Hands down.
Lacey, who's the worst death in Star Wars?
So for me, the worst death was Admiral Akbar in The Last Jedi. I think that he was a fan favorite character, including myself. I have so much Akbar stuff in my house. He has such a memorable line. Everyone loved him. He was a hero of the rebellion and in the resistance. And he goes out like a punk and doesn't even get to die on screen or have any moment of glory. He just dies. And then the next scene, they're like, he went out like a hero. They didn't even say that. No, they didn't even say that. Well, I don't know why. I just made that up. They didn't even say that. She was just like, oh, Akbar's gone. And it was just totally over. And I was like, what? What is this?
So you're saying the grandma from the Looney Tunes didn't show up and talk about Admiral Akbar?
No, it was that girl that looks like a mouse. The one that was like, arr. He should have gone out Holdo, yeah. He should have gone out like her. He should have drove, it's a trap, gone through the ship.
Okay.
You guys are thinking way too hard about this. The
Opening statement, James.
The obvious choice here is random Empire guy on Endor that Han hits with some sort of like mechanical whatever and knocks him over the railing. Like,
it was a rock.
Yeah, it was not a rock. John seems to think it was a rock. Like there was a rock in this facility. But anyway,
so meaningful. I don't even remember this. When?
What is the time you get the most mad at like a first person shooter? Like you're playing Call of Duty. It's like as soon as you spawn, you're dead immediately. And that's what happened with this dude. He runs in and he's like, I'm gonna stop these rebels. And he runs in and he's like, freeze. And then Han Solo just throws like a heavy suitcase at him and he's like, oh no, what do I do? Ah! And then there's the Wilhelm scream. The stupidest, most dumbest fundamental death. I mean, obviously your mind goes to like, I don't know, some background stormtrooper. They die all the time for stupid reasons. There's no meaning behind their death. Or that guy that Luke
Skywalker didn't
They just
kick
run
in the
into
face.
the room and get killed. Like that's the worst death you could have in the Star Wars universe. You don't do anything meaningful other than say the word freeze.
First off, before we brawl, I want to say I would have picked Boba Fett, but all those guys would be like, well, Boba Fett's not dead. He's going to get out and they're going to make a movie about him.
I was curious if you would go the Boba Fett route because you've talked about how often you hate his death or whatever.
Well, I would, but I didn't want to get the backlash like, John, you don't know anything. He's coming back, Boba Fett's back.
And Favreau's Mandalore series.
Same for Maul, too. You can't say his death was cool because he didn't die at the big, cool death. Yeah.
James, yours is hilarious.
Which is why it's the best worst.
Just like Kanan was like Wile E. Coyote, this guy is almost like a Looney Tunes character getting hit with an anvil on the head or something.
James,
so
you should have moved your death to this
true
one.
To your pattern.
You should have moved Kanan to this one, and then you would have won this section.
Yeah, most hilarious death, I'll give you that. But in terms of the worst death, I can't agree with you there. And then my thoughts on Lacey's. Who did Lacey pick again? Admiral Akbar. I love how Lacey destroyed her own argument by saying like he has a memorable line, like singular, like he's a meme.
He was also
That's
a hero,
all this guy
though.
is.
No, but he's a hero for the rebellion.
He's an appetizer. He's calamari. He's what you order at a sports bar before the football game comes on.
First of all, you don't know how to say calamari. Second of all, no, you're an idiot. Third, Akbar is a hero to the Resistance.
Who went down with his ship. What an honorable, awesome death.
He didn't go down with the ship. He just blew out of the command center with Leia, and then she did Mary Poppins, and he didn't survive. That's some...
Frozen calamari.
That's some BS, Rian Johnson. And I love Rian Johnson, but that is the worst death. Way to take a fan favorite character and just be like, we don't care about this guy. Worst
Is he a fan favorite, or is he just kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, Akbar, that's cool, but I really don't care.
He was a favorite to me. He's one of my favorite characters. I was so upset that he died.
Him and his famous line.
Yeah, absolutely. Who cares? We're talking about worst death. He didn't get the death of a hero that he should have gotten. He got some side death.
His death, there's no way his death is worse than Palpatine's, though.
I think I made it pretty clear that I was not choosing Kanan's death because he was a favorite. But here she comes in and she's like, it's crappy because he's one of my favorites. That's why. It doesn't have anything to do with his actual death. It has your connection
it does.
And feelings for that character.
Because he didn't die in a memorable, awesome way. He died in a terrible, worse death. He just got blown out a window.
Blown up by a missile in space.
Though, Lacey, if you want to go by pain,
that's a pretty.
He just went,
feel anything.
And then it just blew up. That's all that happened. It's the worst death.
Yeah.
He should have gone down in a heroic way.
Dude, Akbar was sitting there at a console playing solitaire on his computer, and all of a sudden he's blown to bits. He didn't feel anything.
He was in one of those chairs, those like hover chairs.
Oh yeah, he loves those hover chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst death.
So, somewhere that hover chair landed on another planet, just like Luke's lightsaber floated somewhere, and someone now has Akbar's hover chair at an antique shop.
Akbar got such a bad rap. Literally, it's a rap.
But ask anybody, like, hey, which would you rather die? Would you rather die as the commander of a ship and then a TIE fighter is going to come and blow up the thing and everybody in 100 yards is going to die except for the one Force user? Or would you rather have somebody throw a heavy suitcase at you and you get knocked backwards over a rail?
It's just so it's way more ridiculous when you bring it up, but that's still not the worst death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you guys still haven't said
Sure.
why Palpatine's isn't the worst death.
Because his doesn't matter,
I
so we're
can
not
go
even
into
arguing
that.
it. Because his
Like,
doesn't
really
matter.
think about this for a second. A guy who is mechanical, lost one of his arms, picks this guy up with one arm as he has lightning shooting out of his hands, and this guy who's supposed to be the master manipulator couldn't sense that. It's ridiculous. He got the worst death in the whole saga.
I don't mean to bring up a point that I've already brought up, but would you rather die being murdered by Darth Vader or having a large suitcase thrown at you and being knocked backwards over a rail? I'm
He
sorry.
wasn't murdered by Darth Vader. He was murdered by gravity.
But Darth Vader killed him. Is there any argue over that?
Yeah, Darth Vader definitely killed him.
Yeah, Darth Vader killed him. Darth Vader murdered this man.
He died
in
from
cold
betrayal.
blood. And that's a
This
pretty
guy
cool
died
death,
from a
to be honest
suitcase.
with you. If you're gonna die by any means,
Okay, if you-
being killed by Darth Vader is a pretty cool one.
Yeah, if you get killed by Darth Vader in Rogue One, like Prime Darth Vader, but if you get killed by Darth Vader who can't open his own ketchup bottle, Darth Vader, because he only has one hand left, then I don't count that.
Bad
Especially
respirator
when
Darth Vader.
He
Especially
had
now
one
in the
hand in
special
Rogue
edition.
One. What you just argued makes no sense. Darth Vader only had one hand in Rogue One.
I mean, he had no hands, like his mechanical hand was cut off.
Yeah.
Because
So
Luke cut it off.
who cares?
I'm just saying it's hard. It's harder to do. Also, in the special edition, they added Darth Vader pretty much telling him, "I'm about to kill you," because he goes, "No, no." Don't you think Palpatine be like, why do you just say no? Wait, are you about to kill me?
That makes my
But he's
best death even better. That Darth Vader yells no.
Like, why was Palpatine so hapless in that one moment? He became a nothing,
'Cause he
became a
sucks.
senator, took over the whole galaxy, and manipulated everybody, fooled everybody, and he couldn't figure out Vader might protect his son, especially when he goes, no.
Because he got so distracted in his own anger and dark side rage that he couldn't pick up.
It's embarrassing.
No, it's
She
the same
deserved
thing
better.
with Snoke. Snoke was so overwhelmed with everything that was going on that he didn't realize he was about to die. Just like
You compare Snoke to my sheep.
it's the same thing, dude. Old crinkly guy, evil. Yeah, same guy. Same guy. And then Akbar's over here getting roasted. Stupid. It's worst death ever.
Sheev deserved better, guys.
You guys
Akbar
are both putting
deserved better.
so much emphasis on how they deserved
No one
a
cares
better
about your
death.
suitcase, James.
I'm just saying. it
Once again,
just-
James is bringing up
they
deaths that
still
nobody gives a
have
shit about.
Cool deaths. Like, I'm not going to pick random stormtrooper that got blown up by Poe Dameron's X-Wing on Takadana. That's a pretty cool death. That's pretty neat. But
Takadana.
like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it doesn't really matter if that character, well, he was a stormtrooper, like blah, blah, blah. He doesn't really have a whole lot to add to the galaxy of the story. I'm just talking simply about their death. Being blown up by a blaster of X-Wing, that's all cool. Being thrown off of a cataclysm by Darth Vader is cool. Being mildly pushed off by something heavy, not even a blaster, not a lightsaber, no force choking or anything like that. Although those are pretty, I don't know, lackluster
Akbar deserved
deaths.
better.
People just being like, I can't breathe, dead.
Lacey, I would agree with you if Admiral Akbar was a relevant character, but he's just not.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Palpatine sucks. No one cares about Palpatine.
Fish matter, John.
Mon Calamari
Palpatine.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they blink or not, but they matter.
He
Every
was
time I dip
able.
something in cocktail sauce and eat it, I think about Admiral Akbar.
Really? Because Palpatine sucks.
All right, guys. I think we've talked about the worst death The obviously being random Empire guy on
Palpatine.
Endor, Han hits with a heavy object and knocks him off a rail. And then we talked about your guys' too, which are pretty cool. But do we have any closing statements?
Anyone is siding with you, first of all. But yeah, let's do our closing.
You say that, but mine is clearly the obvious worst death.
Like we have like
you guys
one
are trying to fight
like,
for something that you're like in any other day, any other argument, you'd be like,
you know who's going to vote for James?
Kind of a cool
people who
death.
listen to our podcast who were
Pretty
fans
normal.
of The Devil Wears Prada. Those are the people that are going to root for James in this argument.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So final statements. I'll go first this time to be fair, I guess. And I will say, I'm not doing the 2-sentence nonsense because Lacey made that up out of nowhere. But I'm just going to say,
I thought that worked
Emperor
really
Palpatine
well.
is the supreme villain of this saga. He
Boo.
was the mastermind, the manipulator, the powerhouse that rose from nothing and took over the whole galaxy. And they just made it seem like he had no idea what was happening. He even got a vocal cue from the guy next to him saying, "I'm about to kill you."
Dude,
And
he didn't show
had
up till
only-
the last movie.
Excuse me, this is my closing argument. Thank you.
Didn't even show up.
And Vader had only 5 fingers left, and he still was able to just pick him up and toss him. And honestly, he needed a more epic death. It was kind of a cop-out. I don't like it. I still don't like it. And yeah, Palpatine deserved better. So it's clearly, obviously, the worst death in Star Wars. Definitely the worst death out of these 3 we're talking about here. Thank you. Good night. Mic drop.
Lacey,
That's a
final
mic
statements.
drop? You want me to go?
Yeah.
Well, Admiral Akbar, legend, hero, resistance leader, deserved a better death than the worst death that he got, which was being blown out a window and then somehow side mentioned a scene later. That is some BS. He deserved better than that, and that's why he gets the worst death.
All right, guys, I'm going back to that first-person shooter thing. You're playing a game. There's a lot of really good players. They're running around. They're killing people. They're getting killed by other good players. There's a lot of shooting going on, a lot of people dying. But then you have this one noob player who doesn't understand the game. It's like your dad or something. He's on the controllers. If you go back and watch the game, while you're looking at your replays and you're like, oh, man, that kind of sucks. I was killed. I should have been paying attention. But then you go back and you look at your dad's kills and he like backs up because he doesn't know which way to go and he like falls off the cliff. That's the worst death in that match. It's not, you should have been paying attention. You should have been noticing that Vader was saying this or that, or their meaningful players or anything like that. It just has to do with simple stupidity. It's just the guy comes in, he says, freeze, and he gets something heavy thrown at him. That's it. And he dies. It's not a blaster. It's not a lightsaber. He just dies. It's such a stupid... He's trying to play dodgeball, and he jumps up. I'm going to catch this and show Han, but then it just sets him off balance enough to murder him.
I kind of want to... I do kind of want to get, like... I wish there was a post-game interview of Han Solo, like, Han, when that guy surprised you with freeze, like, what went into your mind? Like, oh, I had this thing in my hand, and I just threw it.
I just threw it at him. All right, guys.
All right,
Don't you wish you could like talk to the stunt coordinator who was like, okay, so you're just going to throw this at him and he's going to do this. And Harrison Ford's just like, so I just throw it? And he's like, yeah, just throw it.
Side note, too, you watch the clip again, 2 stormtroopers come in. They clearly saw what happened to that guy and they do not care.
Yeah.
They just come
Maybe
around the
like him.
corner
and
they're just like, oh, that guy just died. He fell off a rail.
You mean like how they treated Akbar?
He didn't give them lunch breaks or something, so they're just like, screw him. But imagine the script held for like Han Solo to shoot that guy, and Harrison Ford's like, nah, I'm gonna improv this. I'm gonna grab this thing and just throw it at him.
What's funny is I looked up the script on this to figure out if the guy actually does have a name, and the actual script reads that Commander says, freeze, you rebel scum. And that's not it. The one guy says freeze, and then he gets knocked off, obviously, stupidly. But then the other guy comes in, and he says, you rebel scum. So it's actually, it was written differently in the script. Yeah. So anyway.
All right, well, what is the best death? We went through Kanan Jarrus, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Vader. And what is the worst death? And we went with Akbar, random Empire guy on Endor, and Emperor Palpatine. So let us know what you guys think. James can't even hold it together right now.
Nope.
And if you guys have, again, other choices for the worst death, let us know in the comments. And we'll ask you, who do you guys think won the Star Wars wars? Obviously, the best death won and the worst death won. Let us know, and we'll do another one in the future. We hope it wasn't too harsh for you. We hope you had fun. And look, we're all still here. We're still podcasting because we have more to do here. So it's possible to argue and still be friends, folks. Remember that. But now it's time to hear from you. Resistance Transmissions time. We have 2 things to get through here. One was an experiment. The other one, a little more traditional. Lacey, what's going on in the Resistance this week?
So, John, I'm going to let you explain the first one because you kind of spearheaded this. So I'm going to let you do that, and then I'll do the second part.
Okay, so the first Resistance transmission, we kind of just started a crawl for episode 9, and we asked you to kind of like a game of, not telephone, but kind of a chain sort of thing, ask you to each leave a line to continue it. So I'll just read it then. This is what we've come up with. And we started with the first line, 3 years have passed since the fateful Battle of Crate. And here's what you all came up with. The First Order continues to slowly take control of the galaxy under the iron fist of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. This
Good
will
start.
begin to make things right. The Resistance has regrouped and rallied around its new leader, Chewbacca.
Nice.
The Millennium Falcon, with the Resistance in tow, has jumped planet to planet to organize a collective, while the spark of Luke Skywalker has ignited a resistance across thousands of systems. After he showed his strength as a leader, Poe Dameron was promoted to general, where his first order was to have Jar Jar Binks hunted down and executed for treason. Little they know, the Gungan had become the Senate. ...
This is like a weird Mad Libs.
Yeah, it's sort of
Yeah,
like a Mad Libs. It's
That was
also
our crawl. Everyone, obviously, there's a little joke twist at the end. It's funny that we're going back to Jar Jar here, but that was a fun little experiment, and thanks for participating, guys.
Nice.
And I'll make sure I tag when I put. I'll try to put the crawl in like a picture, and then I'll tag all the folks who added to it on Twitter.
Nice. So the second part of Resistance Transmissions was we posted a picture of Captain Antilles getting choked out by Vader. And so we asked you, if you are given a second chance to go back and say something different to Vader in hopes he doesn't kill you this time, what do you say to him? The first one was from Jen at Rebel Disnerd. And she said, just a random thought here, but you know what I hate? Sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it just gets everywhere. OMG, you too? Did we just become best friends?
It's like so many jokes in there.
Well done, Jen. Next is from Alex Thomas at Alex Ipler Faux Show.
Alex Tipler for show.
Oh, yeah, that
Maybe.
probably worked. And he or she said, we have to save Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah. We have to save Shmi.
Little Batman versus Superman. Good job.
The next one is from More5150 at More5150.
Hey.
Hey, way to get your handle, More5150.
Yeah. First name Boar, last name 5150.
I wonder if they changed it just so you'd say that, John.
Yeah.
And they said, can I just say, what you did in the hallway back there, that was pretty amazing. Slicing and dicing all those guys with your lightsaber, that was top-notch evil. Kudos to you, Darth. Can I call you Darth, Mr. Vader?
I like that. It's not a very great comeback, but unless you're trying to be weird and sarcastic or something.
Yeah.
But
the next one is from
I like
Jason
it.
Ginsburg at Ginsburg. Ooh. And he
He got his
says,
handle.
yeah, he says, it was more of a floppy disk than a transmission.
I think this guy is the creator of at Fake Theme Park.
Oh, nice.
I guess, yeah, that's a popular thing going on. He's also with the Science Channel. So thanks, Jason
plug.
Ginsburg. Way to
Yeah.
get your handle. He has the Ginsburg. He's the only Ginsburg. He's it. He's got it.
Nice.
So he's kind of actually Darth Vader. He's like, where's the transmission?
Yeah.
He's like, well, actually, it was more of a floppy disk.
Next is Adam Odell at EH Odell, and he says,
Hey, Odell.
yeah.
We sorted it out with him.
What is it?
Like Canadian, A. Odell. Like his
Oh, is
first
he
name is
Canadian?
Adam A. No, it's just saying that's what his handle is. It's not EH, it's A. A. Odell, like Adam Odell. A. Odell.
At A Odell.
Sorted.
And he said, yes, of course we intercepted transmissions and Senator Organa has them. She is most likely trying to put them into an astromech droid as we speak. I imagine they are near the escape pods down the hall and to the left. Also, the rebel base is on Yavin 4.
Wow.
Just give them everything.
That's an
what a
Empire
coward.
Did Nothing Wrong fan for sure. You just totally sell out the Resistance in a matter of seconds to not die.
And then in parentheses, the screenplay says, and then Antilles wets his pants.
And the last one is from Hallie at Norhal, and she says, your old astromech is around this ship and we didn't wipe his memory.
There you go.
Yep.
Nice.
Gotta love those prequels, guys. Gotta love those prequels.
Those were great. Thank you guys so much. If you want to be a part of the show, keep an eye out this week for our next Resistance transmission, and you could be on the show. Back to you, John.
Awesome. That was so funny. It's like our version of David Letterman's like top 10.
Yeah.
It's just, especially after a Star Wars war, just to get the mood light again. But actually, that brings us to the end of the show. So before you head to your weekends, make sure you check and see that you are subscribed either on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube, and that you're following us on Twitter at RBATSWNN. And before you head off into whatever you're doing this weekend, make sure you go to our website for merch, tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcast. We have about 30 different designs on there. None of them are of Admiral Akbar, unfortunately. But
Are there the suitcase
actually,
guy, though?
yeah, we don't have Suitcase Guy. We don't have any Palpatine stuff either, but we do have a Caleb Doom shirt. So
Because
I
Palpatine
guess
sucks.
I wonder who handles our shirt designs.
I'll have to tell
Weird.
him
It's
to make more
all
canon shirts.
Qui-Gon and Kanan stuff now. I don't...
Oh, boy. All right, guys. And also, make sure you're checking out StarWarsNewsNet.com every day for your latest news, reviews, editorials, information, all that good stuff. And as far as finding us, you can find me, John Hoey, at Johnny Hoey on Twitter. Way to get my handle. And writing and editing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com every week. James Bainey, when you're not losing Star Wars wars, where can people find you?
Just kidding. If you guys want to congratulate me for my 2 W's I just got tonight, hit me up on Twitter at Meyer Trunks. You can find me there.
All right. And Lacey, you just lasted your first Star Wars war. How you
I wouldn't say
feeling?
lasted.
I think I did pretty well. I don't...
One question. How dare you? Just because I want you to feel
Yeah.
to know what it feels like to be asked that question. And
No,
two,
I think I did good. I think also that, just so our listeners know, they wanted to go into the Kylo redemption, Kylo death route, and I said no because I needed to save up for that one. That one, they're both going to be destroyed, so I went a little easy on them tonight, you know? Just had a little fun.
You were
That
sort
one's
of
gonna
the
be an
Admiral
absolute bloodbath.
Akbar of this war, I think.
So you're saying I won then, because it's the worst death.
No.
We'll see. Well, let's not do it again.
Yeah.
But
James,
let's find out where people.
You know what
let's
just
people-
happened? I just verbally threw a suitcase at James, and he just fell off.
Oh boy.
Anyway, guys, you can find me at Lacey Gillerin to chat about Star Wars and ask me why I'm on this podcast, because I'm not really sure anymore, because clearly too good to be on this podcast.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy your weekends. And before you know it, we'll be right back with you on Monday with another episode of the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.